So most of my job is not political or even very theoretical. You know, at the municipal level, you want us to help make day-to-day life work better. You want us to make sure that the potholes are filled and the trash gets picked up, and that we're all kept as safe as possible. So with respect to public safety, you should know that Austin is one of the safest cities in the country. And Chief Manley, as you know, one of the reasons why we are so safe is because the people in our community trust our police officers. And our sheriff's department. That trust is exhibited when everyone who is being victimized in our city feels comfortable seeking law enforcement protection. When witnesses to crimes are willing to come forward, when our law enforcement personnel are welcome and comfortable going anywhere in this city and into any neighborhood in this city. And this specifically includes the people and places where crime and victimization might most likely otherwise occur. This level of trust is earned over a long time, and now is facing a threat. So here's what I think is really going on. Police Chief Manley and our Sheriff Hernandez have told us what we need to do to keep our community safe. Their advice is the same advice that we got from our former police chief, Chief Acevedo. And so that you don't think that this advice is coming from a few aberrant public safety professionals in a progressive liberal community, you need to know that this is exactly the same advice given to us by the National Association, the big cities' chiefs. Importantly, I want you to know that in keeping us safe, our local law enforcement officers follow all federal and state law. I mean, of course we do. Now, our sheriff turns over everyone to the federal government that the law requires her to turn over. She even turns over some serious criminals not even required by the law of her to turn over. If the Federal Immigration Service wants anyone held in our county jail because it thinks they're dangerous, all they have to do is get a warrant. It's that easy. But what our sheriff does not do is participate in a voluntary program that would have her detain and turn over others without warrants. You know, quite frankly, we don't have the resources to have our local public safety officers act as federal immigration officers or federal environmental officers or federal tax officers. They have a job to do here. And most importantly, our public safety officers do what they do because they believe it makes us more safe. Now, I trust our public safety professionals because they are keeping us safe. I ask my community to trust our police, and that has to mean that I trust them too. This is not political for me. It's simple, and it's about public safety. Now, our state and federal leaders are offering us some money if we are willing to reject the advice of our public safety professionals and instead affirmatively choose to make ourselves less safe. And that gives us a horrible choice. And the question we face as a community, I think, is simple. At what price do we sell our safety? Now, it's important to note that it's the county and not the city that is being directly presented with this question, because the city doesn't detain criminals. It's the county that runs our jails. But the county is now smack dab in the middle of this. And as you might expect, and for the reasons I trust Chief Manley, I trust Sheriff Hernandez to know how to do her job. But I'll tell you, I sure do wish that we could talk about all this without all the politics and acrimony and emotion of national political issues. That's becoming increasingly hard. I'm going to go off script today just for a second and talk about today's events. And I just want to let you know that in this community last year, we brought in just under 600 refugees. Most of them from Syria, Iran, Afghanistan, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This year, it was anticipated that we would be bringing in just over 600 refugees. You should know that 70–80% of those refugees are women and children. And of the balance of the group, most all the men are there because they're there with their families. Immigrants are part of who we are and who we have always been. It is part of why our community and our country are as strong as they are. In this city, Austin, Texas, 1 out of every 4 people almost were not born in this country. And that is not something that is atypical among cities in this country. I just want the immigrant and refugee community in this city to know that we are a welcoming and supportive community, and that they are an important part of our community, and in this community they should feel welcome and safe. Now, there's going to be an ongoing communication and conversation, and I sure hope so. And there will be, I'm sure, new developments. But no legislature and no election can change who we are and the values that as a community we hold dear. So just as we can see our skyline rise over what used to be a sleepy college town and still recognize the spirit and soul of Austin everywhere we look, the world can completely lose its mind, and we're still going to be Austin, Texas. No matter what happens, we will resolutely, unapologetically remain Austin.